In the chaos of revolutionary Paris, one woman's loyalty would cost her everything. Princess Dumbal, a figure of grace and devotion to the French monarchy, was not merely executed, but subjected to the most horrific form of psychological warfare imaginable. Her death was not just a political act. It was a calculated message to break the heart of a queen and send shockwaves through the very soul of the revolution. This is not just the story of one woman's tragic fate. It is the tale of how loyalty and love can become lethal in a world governed by violence and fear. Paris, in 1792, was a city of tension, fear, and bloodshed. The French Revolution had spiraled out of control, and the streets were no longer paved with hope, but soaked with the blood of the aristocracy. The once glorious monarchy was crumbling, and revolutionaries, driven by rage and desperation, sought to destroy all remnants of the old order. In this environment, Princess Dumbal, once a symbol of wealth and privilege, would become a target, not only for her noble birth, but for her unwavering loyalty to Marie Antoinette. Her story became a reflection of a revolution gone too far. Born into the prestigious House of Savoy, Princess Dumbal's early life was marked by both privilege and tragedy. Though she lived in luxury, she was no stranger to heartbreak. At the tender age of 18, her husband, Prince Dumbal, died unexpectedly, leaving her widowed and alone. Unlike many women of her time, who might have retreated into the shadows of grief, Dumbal channeled her sorrow into a lifelong devotion to service. Her empathy grew as she endured personal loss, and her life would soon intertwine with another young woman, Marie Antoinette, whose fate would mirror her own in the most tragic of ways. Marie Antoinette, the Austrian-born Queen of France, found herself an outsider in the lavish court of Versailles. Far from the comforts of her homeland, she struggled to fit in, and her marriage to King Louis XVI was more a political alliance than a love story. In this environment of loneliness and alienation, Princess Dumbal became her closest confidant, offering solace and understanding. Their bond grew deep, built on mutual loss and the pressures of royal life. For Marie Antoinette, Princess Dumbal wasn't just a servant. She was a sister, someone who shared her pain and her hopes for a better France. As Marie Antoinette ascended to the throne, her struggles only intensified. The queen became a target for those who resented her foreign birth and extravagant lifestyle, and the whispers of discontent soon turned into calls for revolution. Through it all, Princess Dumbal remained by the queen's side, offering not just counsel, but loyalty that would cost her everything. She took on a new role as the supervisor of the queen's household, a position that brought both honor and peril. In the face of growing unrest, her presence in the queen's life became a symbol of the monarchy's unyielding support, an act that would later become her downfall. By 1789, the winds of revolution had reached a breaking point. Economic hardship, political gridlock, and social inequality culminated in the storming of the Bastille, marking the beginning of a violent uprising against the monarchy. For Princess Dumbal, this was the beginning of the end. The revolution was no longer a distant threat. It had arrived at her doorstep. Though she believed in the possibility of reform, her world, and that of the monarchy, was beginning to crumble. Her deep loyalty to the crown, especially to Marie Antoinette, made her an enemy in the eyes of the revolutionaries. As the revolution gained momentum, Princess Dumbal faced a devastating choice: escape to safety or remain by the queen's side. Noble families throughout Europe fled France, seeking refuge in more stable courts. But Princess Dumbal refused to abandon Marie Antoinette. She knew the risks, yet her loyalty was unshakable. In the heart of the revolution, where lives were easily discarded, the princess chose to stay, believing that her duty to the queen and to France's monarchy was more important than her own survival. It was a decision that would seal her fate, as the revolution was not kind to those who refused to betray their allegiances. By August 1792, the royal family was imprisoned in the Tuileries Palace, No longer rulers, but captives. Princess Dumbal was arrested and sent to the infamous Lamballe Force prison. The once opulent halls of Versailles were a distant memory. Now she faced the squalor and brutality of prison life. Yet, despite the deplorable conditions, Princess Dumbal maintained her composure. She never betrayed her loyalty to the Queen. Every day, she prayed, offered comfort to fellow prisoners, and refused to denounce the monarchy. Her steadfastness became both her strength and her curse. It made her a symbol of resistance, but also an enemy to the revolutionaries. As Paris descended further into chaos, the revolutionaries called for a purge. The September massacres of 1792 saw thousands of prisoners, including clergy, nobility, and those considered enemies of the state, murdered by the mob. Princess Dumbal, caught in the frenzy, faced the wrath of those seeking not just justice, but revenge. Her fate was sealed when the mob descended upon Lamballe Force prison, driven by the desire to erase every symbol of the monarchy. Her loyalty was considered treason, and her silence in the face of death was viewed as defiance. In the eyes of the revolutionaries, she had to be silenced, permanently. On September 3, 1792, Princess Dumbal was dragged from her cell, and what followed was a horrific spectacle. Her body was violated, beaten, and publicly humiliated in ways unimaginable. The mob's cruelty was not just physical, it was psychological. They wanted not only to kill her, but to destroy everything she represented: her dignity, her nobility, her beauty. Her head, severed from her body, was paraded through the streets of Paris, her disfigured visage mocked, painted, and curled to look like a twisted version of her former self. This act was not just revenge. It was a declaration of the revolution's unyielding brutality. The death of Princess Dumbal resonated far beyond the streets of Paris. It shocked Europe and condemned the revolutionaries' descent into savagery. Her death became a symbol of the excesses of the revolution, a reminder that even in the name of justice, humanity can be lost. The stories of her brutal death, whether exaggerated or not, spread quickly, and the revolution's image began to tarnish. Her martyrdom, however, wasn't just a tragic end. It was a warning about the dangers of ideological extremism. Her legacy, marked by loyalty, dignity, and horror, remains a powerful reminder of the price of uncompromising devotion in times of violence. Princess Dumbal's story is more than a tragic tale of loyalty and sacrifice. It is a cautionary reminder of how easily revolutions can devolve into brutality, and how devotion can cost everything. Her death is a testament to the power of unwavering loyalty, the consequences of ideological extremism, and the destruction of human dignity in the name of justice. We must learn from history and recognize the fine line between righteousness and violence. Her legacy challenges us to ask, what would you sacrifice for loyalty? What does it mean to stay true to your values when everyone else has abandoned theirs? Let Princess Dumbal's story spark reflection on loyalty, justice, and the human cost of revolution. The past is not just history, it's a lesson for our future.